So, good evening or good morning. I am Aiga Udre from Latvian Psychodrama and Sociometry for Professionals Association. And we are doing these talks with psychodramatists all over the world. And today I'm really, very, very happy to meet Dr. Dena Baumgartner, I see.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah. Hi. And I said good evening because in Latvia it's 9 o'clock, and in America, Arizona, it's
And 11 a.m.
yeah. So we are in one day in different times. It's really interesting for me to meet in this.
Yes.
You just started your day. I had a day.
Yes, and what you shared with me earlier, it's your Freedom Day, your
Yeah.
Independence Day. So
Yeah.
today is May 4th, 2025.
Yeah. So, and Dana, can you
Yes.
introduce yourself?
Yes.
Who is Dena Baumgartner?
Yes, that's it. You know, she can change a lot on a moment. And at this moment and this day, as I said, May 4th, 2025, I
Yeah.
turned 79 March 18th of this year. And so I'm here as a 79-year-old, very healthy, no meds, lots of energy, and grateful for my ancestors who live in their 90s and 100s. But one of the things I have liked to do with clients or in my groups or residentials or whatever is that when somebody is having a birthday, so I like to line people by the decade. Say somebody is 60, so I'd have them at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and role reverse with that person and have them talk. So today you're getting me at 79. Next year I'll be 80, which seems like, geez, where'd the time go? And I'm really that old? Because I feel like I'm probably 60. But that even can sound old. But I feel blessed. When I look back at this journey of my life and the different decades of that woman,
Yeah.
and what that was like as a woman growing up in the different times, that I can be at this time in my life grateful. I mean, I don't think anyone gets this far without building some sense of resilience, because we have to go through death and wonderful things happening and traumas and the things we hear and see, especially as therapists. We really are in the heartbeat of our world, and organizations we belong to also. Um, and I think of, and you kind of get as you age in this, as you start losing friends and family members. My husband died. I mean, those kind of things, the memories that float through, someone did a statement about we're on the train of life. And at some stations, people get off and new people come on. And it is, how do we keep going forward in our lives? And I just heard a podcast the other day I was so impressed by. He was talking about death, and he said, a lot of people, when they're dealing with death, and I think some of the death psychodramas are the most touching and beautiful, that people can repair, or, if you're not there, you can give them that last moment. But he said that a lot of people said, oh, you have to move on, oh, it's been 6 months, you should move on, move on.
Yeah.
But everyone's journey is different. But the comment that he said is that a lot of people feel when you tell someone to move on, is that you have to leave something behind. And the comment is you never lose those who touch your heart behind. Those memories come with you. But the moment and what to say is it's time to move forward. So moving forward, you move in your life because you're here forward, but you're still bringing that with you. You're bringing those memories with you. You're not leaving anything. So I like that. And I used it in my group the other night when we were doing a death scene. And I think that I forgot your question already, but who am I? I am, I am, I guess you see, I'm a woman of the world, thanks to psychodrama. I come from a family. I have 5 other brothers and sisters still living. I'm the second oldest. I feel blessed in that I had a very unusual childhood. My parents owned a nightclub. I grew up in northern Illinois on the Mississippi River. My parents had a nightclub, a gambling casino. We had horses, a dairy farm. So the girls in my family, we worked in the nightclub. I met strangers and people, but on the farm, I mean, I met characters all my life as a young
Yeah.
person and was exposed to things. But I think because of that, I just enjoy people and characters and the souls of different types of people. And so I think that's who I am. Yes, I have all those degrees on the wall. Yes, I do. I've been awarded the J.L. Moreno Lifetime Achievement Award. Yes, I was awarded this award. Yes, I've gotten that acclimate. I've served on my American board. The American Board of Examiners that certifies people on that for 9 years. I was president of that. I've been I will go off the IAGP board, the International Associated Group Psychotherapy, this August in Japan. After serving 12 years, 9, took a break, came back for this last 3. And yes, one needs to give back. Service is important to your organization and for your own growth. So I feel blessed. That's who I am. I'm a blessed soul, right? And I also, for 2 years, when I turned 70, I studied to be a spiritual director for 2 years. And
This is so interesting.
yeah, I'm an interesting character. So, but honey, the purpose for that was for my journey at the end of my life, more than anything else. That was personally for me, but also because the one aspect of psychodrama that I don't think is taught enough is the spirituality aspect of it. And so, yeah, so my journey into that, I am of actually no religion. I've studied in my spiritual all religions, and I think that also has helped me as I've worked in foreign countries with different types.
Culture.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not just the culture, but it's the religion. And also how religion has really harmed people and how it also is a blessing to help people get through life. So it's the polarities.
Yeah, it is. And how long have you been a psychodramatist?
Well, I was in graduate school in 1980 on my master's, and Thomas Ramsky, who was a trainer in America, we have CP and TEPs, came into my class, one of my master classes, and did taught, explained psychodrama, did a piece of, so he was really good in sociometry, piece of sociometry, and probably a vignette with someone. And I went, wow. I want to do that. I'm going to do that. It touched me. And then when I graduated, I found out that St. Elizabeth's Mental Hospital in Washington, D.C., had an internship for a year.
Oh,
And in America, you had the Moreno Institute, and then you have St. Elizabeth's Mental Hospital, that's like the Harvard for psychodrama. And
okay. Wow.
people, so you try out. And I tried out with a couple hundred people and was blessed to be chosen one of 7 to study for a year. So with that, I went off to Washington City. And so I got to work with the criminally in the criminally insane unit. I got to work with the immigrants coming up from Cuba. Now, I'm in Arizona, but I don't speak Spanish. But when I was an intern, because I was from Arizona, they gave me the Hispanic group, which when you're learning psychodrama, you're like, well, they gave me an interpreter. I'll never
Okay.
forget his name, Ernesto.
Oh.
So Ernesto had narcolepsy.
Oh.
So I would be in the middle of these dramas, and I turn to Ernesto, and he'd be like this. And so at the time, I would go back. I was blessed to have like 12 different at St. E's. I'd go back and I'd say, I can't, I'm trying to learn this. And he's falling, blah, 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 blah. And they'd go, you'll get it, you'll get it. And I want to say today, that was a blessing
Mm,
because I can go to any country and I learned to read emotions.
mm,
I don't have to know the language.
yeah.
So there'll be a point, if it's in a heavy point, and I will say, do it in your own language. I don't have to hear the words, I know the emotions. So that became a gift. But at the time, it was not. It didn't seem like it. And but I was exposed to different populations there, and I I'm grateful. It's touched my heart. It's just and then things just kind of float into your life, and I was asked to go to Canada. I went to Canada for a good 6 summers for a few weeks, and I trained the Ojibwe Native Indians in the use of action methods, and also directed them in dramas to heal them from the abuse by the priests. I was blessed to work with shamans and medicine women there, and I've worked with other Native populations. And the beauty of that culture is in the Native culture, it doesn't happen unless it happens in action. They're great for psychodrama.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, that was the bug. And then learning it, and I wanted to learn, Zerka Moreno was pushing me towards the international stuff, and David Kipper and other people, which I didn't even know there was an international organization. And then when I got into that, for me, it was further growth of working with different populations, different cultures. That's how I could keep growing as a psychodramatist. And I have a lot of gratitude for Elaine Saginaw and Rosalie Minkin, and that got me into the international trainers weekends with Zerka and Dogus Boomquist.
Yeah.
And being there, I started meeting people from all over the world and being invited because of my style of directing to other countries. So that's kind of my psychodrama story. Does
Okay.
that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you. And I wanted to ask about Zerka. How
Okay.
was it for you to work with her, to be her student? How it was?
Well, it was the trainers weekend, and I had just become a trainer, so that was in the early 19, when did I become a trainer? 1990.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know much about Douglas. Douglas was a surrealist. Yes, okay. He's the one that brought me, one of the people brought me to Sweden
Okay.
along with Lars Travan. But Zerka, what I loved about Zerka is the history. So we were at the Beacon stage, and she would tell the stories, of always a great story about Fritz Perls coming to train there and writing his name this big. And so she had stories of people, of Moreno, of um, to me, it was the history of what she shared of the journey there. But she was so talented. And so I'll share this because I've been interviewed for different things, and I have shared this. But it was one of my most scariest moments as a young tep, is that I was directing Doggis in a psychodrama at the trainers weekend. I'm this new young trainer, and I'm with all these people, other trainers, bigger than me, not tall, but years of, and because everybody wants Zerka. And Doggis, was like Zerka's son in a way, and she loved him. And so I'm directing him, and she's in an auxiliary role. And so she was stepping out of role, trying to give him some other advice. And I had to say, please keep in role, because this is what I was taught. And then she did it. And I said, if you can't stay in role, I will have to take you out of role. The whole room went, and then I thought, oh my. And did I do something really wrong? The drama was great. And then I went, what did you do? You said that to Zerka. And then someone said, Zerka wants to see you. And I went, this is it. This is the end of my career. But no, Zerka took my hand. She said, dear, you did the right thing. I was wrong. Keep doing what you're doing. And that showed me humility. That showed me how to be a trainer. That showed me that none of us are perfect, and it's okay. Zerka was dear to all of us. When David, my partner, died, she was one of the people called and would talk to me. And one time she called and she goes, have you role reversed with him yet? And I said, no, I haven't. Well, move over to that other chair and role reverse with him right now. Oh, yes, ma'am. So you learn her strength. I think about her. I made a joke in my workshop in the American workshop or conference we just had, is that I just had gotten hearing aids and they weren't working. And I'm doing this, and I had a young protagonist from a foreign country with a soft voice. And she said, I don't know if I should do this. I said, listen, if Zerka could direct with one arm and one ear, you and I can do this. And that's it. It's just being present. It's just, being there for your protagonist. And that's what I was for Doggis when I said that to Zerka. Could have been anybody. But so yes, she taught me a lot in many different ways. And I was part of the training groups when Doggis and I can't think of the other gentleman, Tom Rutzel, um, were writing their surrealistic, psychodrama book.
Yeah, I have a book.
It's a great book, but I was there for those times that they would come each train and we would stay up at night and talk about it and Zerka, and it was wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Inara showed me some pictures
Oh,
when I
she
visited.
did.
So I wanted to ask you your story about Inara and how do you come
Oh.
to Latvia? Because I know you visited, right? And
Mhm.
how do you, well, first, how do you met Inara?
Okay, this goes back to, I think Peter Kellerman
Mhm.
did a conference in Israel. It was not an IAGP conference. He put on a conference, I can't remember why, it's so far back.
Yeah.
But Sandra Garfield, who is at that time was president or past president of our national organization, and Honora were friends. And so she was, I think there was like 3 of us Americans that flew over for the conference. And it was during the bombings that had happened in Israel, because I remember talking to David Kipper about going. And he said, Dena, just don't pick up any bags on the street, and you're in America and you're not used to this or that. And okay.
Mhm.
And so we got there, it was Easter and Passover, and we were staying in a hotel there, and I met Enora through Sandra Garfield. And because it was Easter, I made these little Easter like little baskets, and I went to the hotel rooms of each of them and put them out and knocked on the door, and I ran away, right? And Sandra, the tension was really intense
Yeah.
because of the bombing. Sandra
Yeah.
called security and got them they came and were examining all this stuff. But we all got together, and I just fell in love. How could you not fall in love with Honora?
Yeah,
And yeah, and
exactly.
her brilliance. And we became friends. I do believe it was at that conference, and then through being brought into Sweden, and we just connected, and she liked my style of directing and would ask me to come, and I know the intense love she has for Latvia. And I wanted to honor her love. I didn't know anything about your country except she came from there.
Yeah.
And so when she invited me, I said, of course. And so that goes back to, it goes way back. So I feel blessed, and we talk hopefully every month. And again, this is the beauty of psychodrama, is the friends you meet throughout the world that become lifelong friends, that are
Yeah.
there for you in your troubles and in your joys. And you know them because you do psychodramas with them. You know more about them than their own families know.
Yeah.
And the dearness. And so I feel really blessed that she can call me a friend. I can call her a friend, a dear friend.
Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes, well, it's for me, sometimes international psychodramatists become like more closer even than like this small group that you're meeting all the time, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we bring, I don't know, it's just, it's amazing for me how I show up in certain places. I go, why am I here? And sometimes, and then it unfolds. And I remember a very healing time And I am grateful for the Hungarian, was the Hungarian 30th anniversary conference. And as the first time I've been to Hungary, but I went because one of my beloved students, Don Nagy, he had become a deacon. He was just brilliant, just one of, touched my whole training group's heart, died.
Mm.
And one of his things that he wanted to do more than, and he was an opera singer and a travel, I always had him sing Amazing Grace at the end of our trainings. So beautiful. His goal in life was to go back to, he was Hungarian, to go back, though American, that's his heritage, Hungarian. He
Yeah.
wanted to go back and direct a psychodrama there.
Mm.
So I went back for him in my grieving of him, and they were gracious. And I presented there and did their, I think, an opening or a major piece that healed the old and the new psychodramatists of Hungary. And at the end, Amazing Grace was sung.
Mm.
And it's the spirit. I can't tell you how important it's like meeting these spirits, and Nora, Don, Dogus, Lars, Kate, all these people, Mona from Egypt. I went there because of the death of her father and wanted to be there. It's the spirit of these souls that you meet that touch you, and you show up to do you don't know what, but it's just being there in love and growth.
Do you remember your first psychodrama?
It would have been at St. Elizabeth's. And it would definitely been about my family.
Mm.
But the one, I mean, when you're at St. E's, you're like in a residential for 365 days. And so you did a lot. I can remember a powerful, because I had a very strong family. And so I think a lot in the beginning would have been family dramas of not taking over like the family businesses, of,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay. Yeah. And what is the salt of psychodrama for you? What is it?
The salt of psychodrama to me is the soul of psychodrama, spirituality.
Okay.
The spirit of Moreno wanting, it's leading people to their true self. And that's their authentic selves.
Mm.
I think we're born on this earth, and my doctoral dissertation was on inner child work, because that was really big in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And I truly believe in it, because when we're born, it's like, we come here and then we have family and culture, religion, and how can this whole spirit come up?
Yeah.
And so psychodrama, I think, helps take those veils off, that you can be you without judgment. But it's the beauty of when I do like inner child work or whatever, is allowing people to be able to be them. So to me, the salt of psychodrama is reaching that soul and helping it to be authentic.
Yeah. Interesting. You said spirituality, and I'm learning in a CP group right now. Yeah, and we have this Latvian, Lithuanian, and Estonian CP group together, and we had and we had a philosophy seminar with Eduardo Verdu from Norway, and there was a lot of spirituality. And Nordic Baltic Board will have a trainers days about spirituality in August in Latvia. So it's
Wonderful.
a lot about that,
I'm very happy that you're doing that.
Yeah, and that is really for me too, the core of psychodrama somehow. But it's really, hard to get there.
Yeah, well, when people realize it, it's not a religion,
Yeah.
it's like,
Mm,
but it's more, it's allowing people, as Moreno said, we're all geniuses, because we all are gods. It's because we have spontaneity and creativity to make change. And in our world today, especially in America, uh, oof, it is about community. It's about working together for that change with our spirituality and our creativity to make the world better for all of mankind. And that is Moreno's, statement. But also on his tombstone, as you know, is the man who brought laughter. And
yeah.
it's that humor piece that's kind of like, to me, like the spirit of the child inside, that creative soul, that like, okay, let's not get too serious here. Let's like take a breath. But and then all the methods, the encounter work that I think a lot of trainers don't teach enough of, encounter work. And we have the role reversal, of course, which is, mainstream psychodrama,
Yeah.
but it's all of that, I guess.
Yeah. And that's what makes it so interesting and so hard. Well, for me. Because
If you relax and just listen to your own soul, you'll be fine. And whatever those critical, I had the first time I was presenting in Argentina, I think, for the first IAGP conference, whatever. I was playing around with puppets, and I have this critical rat that I would put this puppet on, and the critical rat would have, oh, you've got curly hair. Nobody wants curly hair. Why do you have curly hair? Uh, but I think Lars saw me with my puppet, and that's how I got invited to Sweden from Lars to Bonn. But it was the creativity of what are those internal messages that stop us from being
yeah.
real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
oh yeah. Is that something you don't like in psychodrama?
Wow, I'm such a psychodrama nerd. Um, I would say, I can't think of something I don't like. I mean, in techniques, because it's so creative.
Mm,
Um, I think what I worry about is people who see it, they think it's so easy and they can do it. And I think it's that people not having enough training do damage. And from that, as I said earlier, I sat on the American Board of Examiners for 9 years, and we would get complaints about people, but there was nothing we could do because they weren't certified by us. But I think the importance of training and never stop learning as a trainer. I think some people think, oh, I'm here, done. But the beauty of psychodrama, I'm somebody who gets bored easy.
mm,
Psychodrama, never boring, because there's always something new to learn, how to integrate it, to see it, to change it, you know. So I wish I probably should have something, but it has not. I think that would be the wound I have, is when I hear people say, and I know psychodrama isn't for everyone, but I
mm.
do know those people who are in their head a lot is really helpful.
Yeah. You just need to break them somehow. Not break, but make them turn it outwards, not in the head. Or yeah.
Yes, and that happens because when they're moving in the psychodrama, they're not.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a beautiful moment when there is like Oh,
Ah.
yeah, exactly. So, what do you think? How would psychodrama look in 20 years?
Well, I'd be 100. I hope I'm alive for that. But well, not 100, I'd be 99. That would be good.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Uh, I hope that it is always done in group, which it will be. It's the best. I mean, I do individual work with it too,
Mm,
but that when you walk into a room of people, the telly, the energy is so incredible. I know that we are in technical times. I am aware how powerful the technical part was during the pandemic, that people could connect.
yeah.
I see that as sociometry in action. I know that dramas can be done online, and I've done them.
Mm,
Uh, it's not the same for me as an old-time psychodramatist. It's just not.
mm,
The kinesthetic part of psychodrama is so important
yeah.
because you use all your senses. And when it in person, I think you can teach theory, you can teach a lot of things online. And I'm grateful that we can reach people, that can't travel, don't have the money. That this is all a blessing and it will be there in the future. But I hope people don't become so lazy because they can turn on a computer that they don't travel
Mm,
places
yeah.
to be trained. As I started with you earlier before you started the recording and was talking about how going to Lafayette was so mind incredible for me to be in that atmosphere, to actually be with the culture.
Mm,
Uh, it just you can't you can't do that on screen. It's I can meet you, I can enjoy you, but I can't. I have
yeah.
a friend that says, I got to go smell my daughter. I said, your daughter's 40 years old. Why do you want to smell her? She said, it's my daughter. I have to smell her to be okay. So it's an animal, but it's the senses,
Mm,
that uh, it's like, I hope people in 20 years won't become lazy, that they will still travel to be in a group of people and interchange in the moment, in the here and now, is have that telly. And maybe the whole tech thing will be different. Yeah, I mean, it will. It's going to keep growing. I just don't want people to become, I think that's what I would hope for, that if they're doing it, they will still gather and still
mm,
bring in that energy, that smell, and for me as a trainer, I remember the first time I went to Sweden, it's just different things. It's just how people do things differently. It's like people would take their clothes off and give it to the other person, and they were changing jackets and shirts and scarves, and I'm just looking at people, and and I mean, just and little things, but like, wow, that's interesting. And 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 I'm sure they say that after I direct, but I mean, it's you can't do that just on screen.
yeah. Yeah. I get it a lot. And also, screens make you really tired. You
Oh,
have to be
yeah.
focused all the time, and it's tiring, and we cannot exchange energy. So
It's the energy exchange. It's a
yeah,
telly. It is, and you have to shorten things so that people can be you know,
yeah,
present. But
yeah,
I remember right in the pandemic thing, we all had to switch to Zoom, and
yeah.
I'm doing clients, and I go, why am I so tired? I see this number of people all the time. And then I would talk with other colleagues and they go, it took me a while to figure it out because I thought, oh, this is easier. You just,
Yeah.
uh, mm-mm. It does zap the energy in a different way. It's not giving.
Yeah. So I'm still interested about Latvia. You coming to Latvia. What was the most surprising for you? Because I don't know if is it a different? Is people different or something?
Well, on the soul level, no. There's love. All the emotions are in everybody. I think for me, as I shared with you earlier, it was, I came from America, and everything is pretty. Oh, that's a couple hundred years old. Well, that's old for us, but
Yeah.
for you, it's not. It's for me when I went to Latvia, as I said,
Show it, show it. Yeah.
I was saying that I found this. This is my first time, the Dream
Yeah.
Win,
Wow.
2002, the second Baltic Moreno Days.
Yeah.
Um, I was so, it's seeing a country coming out of um, the Russian time
Mm.
and they just seeing the landscape. And then as I said earlier, we were in this castle, which was like in America, as I said, we're in hotels, or if we have residentials, they may be
Yeah.
out in the country or whatever. But this was like history. This was like, uh, it was magical. And as I said, I had this room. Oh my God, it's a chandelier and curtains blowing from the breeze from the lake. It was like I was in a major fairy tale. And I remember because this I was a young tap still, even though 5 years in, I guess, but still, I was doing the pre-conference on shamanic psychodrama, and I remember as I shared, Eva Rohn was doing one and Mark Treadwell, and
Yeah.
we broke for lunch, and I went down. I remember sitting with them, and they said, "How's it going, Dena?" And I was like, I I thought it was going good, but I asked because in America you say, "Is there any questions or anybody want to ask me something?" And people are always like, "Why did you do that?" Or and then
Yeah.
somebody's trying to be more intelligent than you, and no one said a word. I said, "I
Mm.
think I'm really bombing," and they both laughed because Mark's from Germany and she's Norway, I believe, and
Yeah.
they go, "Dena, they just came out of communism. They're not going to."
Yeah.
I went, really? So boom, 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 back for my second half of the day. And I told them this, and they go, "Oh, no, no, it's great, it's great." And then I felt, but it's that.
Mm.
Part of Latvia is just seeing people come alive. And that's what we do in psychodrama, is get to that authentic part so people can talk and not fear. But I understand safety. It's
Mm.
really important. And in our world today, it's very important. I see our world with so much trauma. Trauma work is so big right now, and has been. I mean, I worked with men and women getting out of prison. I've worked with all kinds of populations, and uh, so it's important. What I see in Latvia and like Hungary or
Yeah.
Turkey, Istanbul, I've trained there. Uh, they're just, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different culture, but it resonates with me. And but everyone, there's no drama in any of those countries that cannot be. We all have those emotions.
Mm.
Abuse, inner child work. I mean, everyone. There's a uh, I like blues music, Chicago blues. I'm a blues and jazz person. Um, and there's a blues song about we're all the same. Inside, we're all the same. You know, we have the same organs. We have the same
Yeah.
heart. And that's what I see. But there's something walking the streets of Riga, and of course, being there with Honora as she's having me try different foods and stuff. You know, I remember we were. I went and did a workshop. I can't remember for her for your association on something. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but it was restaurant week. And Nora takes me to a really great restaurant in Riga. And we're sitting there, and it was just like, I don't know, it's magical to me. And the rooster's up above. I have a rooster with a stained glass, one of the tops there from Riga, and I have it hung in a window at my office. So, I mean, it's just like, it's a magical place for me.
That's nice. I think you should come to Riga.
Oh, I've been invited, and I know, and I am cutting back, you know, I'm cutting back, and I'm not doing this and that so that I can, I think I'm looking at, as I said, I turn 80 next year, and I'm really healthy, but I'm looking at, what do I want to do for that? How do I want to do? And I think I'm going to travel and see my friends
Yeah.
for my year.
And next year there will be Baltic Moreno days.
Yes,
It will be in
I was to go, what, 2 years ago or whatever, I was going, and I had gone, so maybe 3 years ago, because I was in
Yeah.
Italy for the IAG, because I was going back on the board as a senior member.
Yeah.
And I was coming, and then I came home and got COVID. I got COVID there in Italy.
Oh,
Came home and could not go. But Enora and people called me. Everybody's having dinner, and I'm like, Eva Karan, just a large. I mean, you know, it's I was coming to see the people I love, so it will happen again. It will happen again, but
yeah.
yeah. So
Okay. Um, yeah. Is there anything else you would like to tell me? I don't know. Something.
I I just tell you, as a young psychodramatist, to to trust your spirit, trust your creativity and spontaneity, and have fun. Have fun. I just ended a 15-week personal growth group with clients and other therapists who,
Yeah.
and I'd be directing it, and I'll go, we'll do the walk and talk, and I go, okay, let's go have some fun, and they all go, fun, and but for me it is, because I can be creative in the moment, and I love that. I don't know what's going to come up, and I think for you to know that will open your life to be more and more spontaneous. I mean, we're living in a time right now that you have to be open for change, creativity, and spontaneity, so that you can just, you have to know how to flow. You can't be rigid.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mwah.
Thanks a lot, Dina.
You're welcome. If you have any questions over time, please feel free to write me. I'm trying to give back my knowledge.
Okay.
I will be in South Korea in August and Japan. My goal is to give my knowledge of 40 years of psychodrama. So if
Yeah.
you have questions, feel free to call me.
Yeah.
I may not have an answer, but I'll say something.
Yeah, let's do it. And also, anyone who wanna ask you a question can write down this video some comments, and we will get in touch then.
Okay,
right?
I'll be glad. I'll be glad.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, my dear. Wow, many blessings.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.